Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm in a sunny Bristol where we got problems. The property behind me has lost power to their sockets. In this video I'm going to show you everything that I'm going to do start to finish of how to find a socket tripping fault. Let's go. Okay, now first thing to do is straight to the consumer unit. There is two consumer units here. The one that I'm looking at is this top one. Very nicely, it's not labelled. Right, so first thing you want to do before doing anything is always talk to the customer and find out as much information as you can about the scenario in which it's happened. So I do know that the customer was using a couple of the appliances here last night, shortly before it tripped out. And since then, she's had no power in her kitchen area. It is just this kitchen area that's gone down, no other place. It's always good to check though, if needed. Sometimes if you're looking for a fault and something doesn't add up, it's always good to have a good look around the entire property, make sure there's not the odd socket hiding somewhere that's just randomly tagged off of the kitchen circuit, for in this example. So yeah. Now, although this consumer unit isn't labelled, it doesn't matter because I know it's doing the kitchen. But what's good about it is that by having RCBOs, which are these units here, it's great because it means that this one's tripped. So it means that I know that I'm only looking at this circuit being the issue. Now, the reason I say that is because many consumer units have an RCD unit. So an RCD unit is basically what these units have built into them individually. Now, there are lots of consumer units out there that have an RCD unit which controls many circuits at a time. And that can be problematic because if you have an RCD that trips, that one RCD trips, but it takes out multiple circuits. So you'll see that the RCD would have tripped and then all of these will be on, the circuit breakers will be on, and you won't have a clue which circuit it is. And it will mean that you are already up against it a bit because you now need to find out which circuit it is before you can start anything. So the fact that these have RCDs built into them individually, as they are RCBOs, means that we're already one step ahead in this situation. Okay, first thing I'm going to do here is earth to live and earth to neutral and do an insulation resistance. I'm putting 250 volts between the earth and the live and the earth and neutral to see what reading we get. So here we go. Now, do earth to live first. I haven't unplugged anything yet, but I got 0.01 of a meg. And the same on the neutrals, earth to neutral, 0.02. So that's showing me that there's a very, 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 very low resistance between the two. However, we do still have things plugged in. So I'm going to need to unplug things from the circuit because it could be where I'm getting my false reading from. So what I'm going to do now is have a look. I'm going to do a continuity reading now. I've just looked for any low resistance readings between the wiring. Now I'm doing a continuity reading. I'm going to read the resistance to see what the resistance is between the cabling, right? So with this being a socket circuit, it's rated at 32 amps here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to see if I've got a continuous ring. It's fused at 32 amps, meaning that it should be a ring circuit. So you'll have one of these cables that goes out, goes to each one of the sockets around the circuit, and then comes back on the other ring main, or on the other conductor. So we've got a set of cabling that leaves the consumer, it goes all the way around the circuit, comes back one big ring. So I'm checking to see that we've got a loop here. Here we go, 0.4, yeah, around about 0.4. It's jumping around a bit, but that's okay. Right, now let's do neutral to neutral. Same again, roughly about the same reading, slightly lower here. It's just making a bit of better contact. But yeah, basically I've got around about the 0.37, 3839. Yeah, basically, you would expect the resistances between the lives and the neutrals to be the same because the lives take the exact same path that the neutrals do because obviously they're in the same cabling together. So you expect them to be exactly the same. We do this with the earths as well. I'm not looking into the earths too much at the minute. I just want to get an idea of what's happening. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plug the kitchen area now. switch spurs like this are likely to be on the socket circuit. It's likely to feed straight from there to there, so I'm going to isolate that for the minute, whatever that's feeding. Main appliances like this will definitely give a false reading, so we need to find where they're fed from. Quite often these appliances are fed from a socket which is under the sink. Hence the reason I'm having a little rummage here. Let's see if I can see a socket. Either that, or they're fed by a switch spur above. Switch spur above the worktop that then feeds the socket below is another scenario that can happen. Or the deadliest one to us electricians is that there simply is sockets behind these appliances and we're gonna have to pull the appliances out to get to the actual sockets. So I'm hoping it's not that option. Probably is in this case. It's looking like the deadliest form. It looks like the sockets are behind the appliances. So it's time. There it is. Couple of reasons I don't like unplugging these appliances is like this, is because one, they're a pain to get out, but two, if you look here, look at the tension that this water this water flexible pipe here is feeding this appliance. If that gets a bit brittle or anything like that, this can potentially snap, split anywhere around here, and that can lead to leaking. And obviously, if you don't realize it's leaking and it starts leaking closely after you've done it, then what can end up happening is when this appliance goes back, it can carry on leaking behind it, it can cause a lot of trouble. Right, so after pulling out these appliances, I am now back at the consumer unit. So with everything unplugged from the circuit, I'm now going to do my insulation resistance. I'm going to put 250 volts between earth to live again. Before I was showing 0.01. Oh, you can't quite see it, it's not in shot here. Let me get it in. You can see here now, if I light up the screen view, earth to live, over 200 megohms. It's completely clear. Let's do earth to neutral. Completely cleared. That's interesting. Customer also said that she's tried to reset the breaker and it wasn't able to be reset, which indicates there's a problem which is potentially here to stay. So I'm wondering if it's one of the appliances that's plugged into it. So this is good. Process of elimination. You check that the actual circuit is okay first, and then you then go around and check the appliances. If the circuit's fine, then you know it's most likely going to be one of the appliances. Unless you have an intermittent fault, sorry, I got this on my head. Unless you have an intermittent fault, when that happens, you can have a fault that comes and goes dependent on its situation. Say it's water ingress, for example, then you can get a fault come, but then give it a day or two and it can go because it will, the fault issue will dry out if water's gotten in or something. So you've got to be a little bit careful when you're looking for these things. Just because it's showing clear now, it doesn't mean it will do in a day or two, but we can only work with our current scenario. Right now, if there was a fault that was coming and going, I'd normally expect the reading not to be over 200 megohms, which basically states that it's like infinite. I'd expect the reading to be down. I might get sort of like 10 megohms or something like that, indicating that it's okay. It's an okay reading, but it's not a great reading. But in this scenario, I'm getting over 200 megs. So that indicates that there is nothing wrong here. Never say never, but that's the way it's indicating at the moment. Right, so I'm looking into the appliances right now. I don't have my pat tester with me, boo. But what I can do is use my insulation resistance tester from my multifunction tester and put 250 volts, doing the same again, between earth to neutral and earth to live. I can simply go straight off the pins, clamp onto the earth pin, and I can do earth to neutral, earth to live on the appliances individually, see what I get. And this one, 200 megs and 200 megs there. Yep. So this is not a prime suspect. The dishwasher next to it. I've got the dishwasher plug here, same again. Earth to live and earth to neutral. So over 200 and over 200 again. Right, okay. All right, so these are not prime suspects right now. Okay, so it's toaster and kettle time. If I do earth to live, 0.01, that's that reading I was getting at the consumer unit. Earth to neutral, 0.03. Very, very, very low. Okay, now again, you can get false readings from some of this stuff. Let me try the kettle. Earth to neutral, 7 megohms. That's an acceptable reading. Earth to live, over 200. It's funny because there's only 4 things that I've unplugged, and that is the dishwasher and washing machine and these 2 items. So this one's a bit low on the neutral, but acceptable at the minute. This one is right down. So this is looking like a culprit to me. Okay, so I'm going to put the circuit back together. I just did a cheeky earth continuity, got perfect continuity on the ring circuit. So I'm going to now get this back together, and I'm going to try and plug in that toaster. Let's see if it trips. It'd be very interesting. Okay, cables back in. I gave the cables, I've tightened them up, and I gave them a tug test to make sure that they were actually clamped under the terminal properly. It's time to energize the circuit. Okay, right, so top tip is that when you've got massive items like this, there's a socket down behind here. I never unplugged this at any point. And the reason being is that I went to the easy to get to thing, well, easy-ish things to get to first. Because then that way, if there's something like that, then if I unplugged a few things off the circuit, if I can get that reading to clear, that low reading that I had to clear, then there's no need to unplug that. And that's exactly what happened. I managed to get up to 200 meg ohms. So all was good, and it meant I avoided unplugging this unnecessarily. So this actually was incorporated in part of the circuit testing because it was plugged into the socket behind. So therefore, when I was doing my insulation resistance readings at the consumer unit, it would have been forming part of that circuit. So once I'd unplugged a few of these items and cleared the problem, I know that I don't have to worry about moving this. So hence the reason. However, had it been the case that I'd done some testing and unplugged as much as I could, and the only thing left was this, and my readings were still down, then I would have to get to the plug to unplug that as well. But now it's time. Now it's time, right? Currently, this fridge is on. We'll use this as our indicator. This is on and plugged into the circuit. It's got a light on there like that. So let's see if when I plug in this toaster, I wonder if I'll lose the power. I'm using the fridge as an indicator. Right, here we go. Ready? What's happened here? I think I heard a sound. Oh, look. Light's gone out. Light's gone out. And there we go. There we go. Circuit's tripped. Yep, it's the toaster. So that is a very happy conclusion right here. I know my work is done. Now, here's the thing. Just stop right there. I know what you're thinking. But Leon, why didn't you just plug some items in first and switch them on, see what tripped? I get you. I understand that. Now, here's the thing. As electricians, that's not what we do. It's quite simply because when you plug something in and it goes trip, that doesn't mean it's the appliance which is at fault necessarily. Now, here's the thing. If you did decide to go down that route, what you can actually do is, if there is an underlying issue on the actual socket circuit, by plugging things in and turning it on to trip it out, you can actually cause more harm than good, because you can actually blow the fault apart wherever it might be on the socket circuit, and it'll make it harder to find the fault, potentially. So what we always do as electricians, we never turn on the RCD first to see what comes on and then plug things in. We do it from the very beginning. We start from the very, I was going to say from the TOP, from the very top, but we actually start from the very bottom. And what we do is we will always, or should do, if you're a good electrician, is disconnect the circuit, test it to see what the reading is of that circuit. And you're basically reverse engineering it, starting from there and then working through the scenario like I've just showed you. And that's quite simply because of what I said. You know, you don't want to be plugging things in, trip, oh, it's got to be that, but you've actually just caused more of an issue somewhere on the circuit because you've blown something apart. By doing it this way, we've been methodical. So it means that now I've identified it's the toaster, I already know that the socket circuit is completely fine. I don't have to do any checks to make sure there's no underlying issues, because I've already flushed out any potential problems. So I know the sockets are nothing to do with this issue, so that I now know that it's just the toaster. That is the right way to do it. And that is the difference between somebody that could come in and go, oh, it's got to be this. In this case, it is this. But in some cases, it can be the case that there's an underlying issue and the electrician would just leave because they assume it's the appliance, when in actual fact there's something else a bit deeper going on. The only way I can really explain it to you is if I show you another job that this happens on. So guys, if you haven't liked and subscribed already, please do so, because there's going to be lots more content like this coming out. So there's only one last thing for me to do, and that is, now I'm just going to go around all the sockets and just plug in my tester. I've got it set to earth fault loop impedance now. I'm taking what's known as a ZS reading. So what that does, it basically is going to test that there's an earth path from each one of these sockets. It's not technically anything I need to do, but it's just very good practice to make sure that everything that you've been working on is all safe and safe for the customer to use once you leave, because you're the last person that's been here. So regardless of whether you touch the back end of that socket or not, you are still responsible for the actual circuit. So now I'm going to do my earth check to make sure that everything's earthed from every socket. And also, it will also do a polarity check for me, meaning that it will make sure that all the wires are around the correct way. Everything's connected properly as it should be in that socket, so I know there's no issues with anything being connected the wrong way, and I also know that there's no breaks in the earth path as well. So I know that leaving here today, everything is exactly as it should be. Ooh. Ooh. Oh damn, I wasn't expecting that. Oh dear. Oh dear, guys. It seems we have a graveyard. We have a graveyard. Check this out. This is the thing with this job, you never know. You never know what you're going to come across.
I'm scared. I don't even like seeing them. There?
It's alright, yeah.
There's poison under there.
I see. So there's poison under here.
Yeah.
And then it was the mouse mat, the sticky mouse mat that finished them off. Ooh. This is the part of the job that no one tells you about. Here we go. I have the situation under control. Okay, just for good measure, there's a couple of these blanks missing, so I'm just gonna put a couple of these in. I'm gonna recommend as well that we come back and basically get these circuits here incorporated into this board and get it all labeled in one go, all nice and neat and tidy. Wow, guys, that turned out a little bit different than what I was expecting. I have to be honest, today was actually an admin day. I was having a bit of an admin day today, and hence the reason why I'm wearing jeans. You're probably wondering why I was wearing jeans during this video. That's because I was in the office and I got called out to this emergency call out because our good customer has no power. So yeah, it goes to show you never quite know as an electrician what's coming around the corner. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. I also have another channel which is doing really well. I'll leave it in the description. If you click on that, there's some great stuff on there. But until the next time, have a great one.